So this is the brand new Rock Island Armory 5.0. It's a little confusing. Everybody thinks you're initially talking about a 5-inch 1911, but they named it what they named it, so that's the way it's going to be. This is a very, very exciting new design. It incorporates a lot of really, really cool features, such as this new square barrel, which does not tilt. It is not a fixed barrel in the sense of like a Beretta, but it does stay, very flat throughout the slide's travel. The slide is nice and light. There is not a lot to grab onto, but that's pretty common among any of the CZ type slides like this. The sights are really nice. It's one of the first things I noticed. The front sight is a Dawson sight. Always love those on any pistol. The rear is an LPA out of, I believe, Brazil. Common on a lot of RA stuff. This pistol, as I mentioned, was probably one of the most excited I've been to get. I will say it has not really lived up to the hype, at least initially. There's a few things that are pretty problematic. The first is it was touted as an internal hammer-fired pistol. What that meant to me was it's got a nice, crisp, single-action trigger, and that's just not the case. The trigger is quite light. The trigger is quite smooth. The trigger is exceptionally long. By the time you get done pulling this trigger, you could easily manipulate any standard striker fire design. Glock, Smith, doesn't matter. It's extremely similar. In fact, I've got a modified M&P with an Apex kit, and that Apex kit M&P absolutely blows this trigger out of the water. I could forgive the pre-travel if it weren't for the reset being so far away from the sear dropping. It's always hard to describe, a trigger that you're not holding, but I've got a Geisley 3-gun trigger on my AR. It's smooth, it's light, it's long. That's the best way I can describe this trigger. Not at all what I was expecting. I'm not going to say I was disappointed, but one of the big reasons of buying this was I have a ton of striker guns, and I really wanted something different. I expected more 1911 and less Glock, but it's far closer to a striker-fired trigger pull than I was led to believe. That's okay. We're going to run some shots through it. These are going to be the first shots today. I do like the gun. I mean, I'm happy with it so far in the very, very, very small amount I've been able to handle it. I will say I love the factory stippling that they put on here. It feels like a nice silicon carbide type job. I assume it's laser stippled, but it's both very fine and quite aggressive, which is what I like. It's easy to have a grip that's got big fish scales and that's aggressive. I'm big on aggressive grips, especially in Texas. It gets very easy to get sweaty and slippery in competitions. I really, really, really like the stippling on this grip. It is a hybrid 3-piece design, we'll call it. You've got your slide, you've got your frame, and this is a separate polymer lower section, much like the old STIs or staccatos. Double stack, obviously, so similar in that respect. This, I have not completely disassembled it yet, but this does appear to easily drop away from this middle frame. That's something we'll look into more in the future. Definitely like the way it looks. I really like the clean design I would have done a little bit more, possibly some top serrations, just because there is so little amount to grab onto. It's very, very easy to slip off. I tend to find myself using the rear more, just so I kind of get that additional purchase with the sight. But you know, there's things to get used to in any new design. Playing with it, the first thing that was a huge detraction, a huge problem, is this magazine absolutely will not release. Not only will it not release, you can get aggressive with it and it's not coming out. I even tried it with a fully loaded magazine. It won't drop a fully loaded magazine. You know, probably an easy fix. I have not messed with it yet, just pulled it out of the box. So, you know, we'll see if we can get some sandpaper up in there, or I actually am going to put some, you know, adhesive sandpaper on this, run it in and out a few times and see if that will clean it up. But, you know, that's something to note out of the box. Definitely too tight. Not just too tight, but way too tight. Hopefully it's an easy fix. While we're talking about problems, I want to talk about one other problem. You know, me and every other competitive shooter I know, you want to get a very high grip on the pistol. It's better to control, it's easier to aim. This pistol has absolutely no protection for or against slide bite. The slide is blended directly into the frame. There is no lip, there is no tail, there is no bump. It's just rounded over frame into sharp slide corners. And when I say sharp slide corners, I mean the first 30 minutes when I pulled it out of the box at home, I had 2 worn ridges in the web of my hand. So I'm hoping that's not a big problem when actually shooting it. But right off the bat, I mean, I don't know if you can see how close that is, but it's close. I mean, it's too close. I mean, you can see I got grease marks on my hand from playing it with like that. Yeah, so let's get some shots through it. Let's see if that bothers me. I'm not sure that it will. It's pretty minor, but some sort of light beaver tail, memory bump, you know, whatever you want to call it, that would definitely be appreciated. And if not that, at least rounding over these corners. I mean, that is a 90-degree sharp corner. When you compare that to a lot of the other ones out there, specifically my M&P from the factory, that's a nice round edge. So, I mean, you're not going to get slide bit with one of those, but if you somehow manage to figure out how to do it, it wouldn't hurt. This gun, I'm leery. Time will tell, but it's definitely something that definitely something to consider. Perhaps there's a little mainspring hammer cover here. I've already been considering a design that kind of brings that around, flares it out to keep you from running into that slide. But again, we'll talk more about that later. And I did try this with all 3 mags. The gun is provided with 3 mags. Not one of them will drop free. So major oversight there. Let's see. Come on, puppy. No, it's not going to happen. If you ever wanted a gun to practice tactical reloads, this would be the one to do it, I suppose. All right. Just some standard 147 grain round nose. Pretty light stuff. Pretty much a steel challenge type load. We'll see if it likes it. These are quite literally the first shots. Never had a round through this pistol, outside of the factory anyway. Magazines are good. I've been told that they're CZ75 magazines. I don't know if that's true or not. They do appear visually very similar. So yeah, let's see. It's supposed to be a very flat shooting gun. Talk to anybody that's fired it. They seem to really like the action and lack of muzzle flip. So let's see here. Never been shot. Yep. Yep, very linear recoil. accuracy so far subpar, but that takes some getting used to. Interesting. It's got a delay feeling to it, as if it's taking a little bit longer to cycle than I'm used to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. For sure, I noticed reduced muzzle flip compared to, you know, again, your standard M&P or Glock, which are the main I'm used to shooting. These are very light loads again, which would probably have something to do with that, you know, slow slide action. But I do like that. I do like the recoil impulse. The sights do stay very, very flat throughout the cycling of the slide. I hope I can get used to this trigger. They've already said that they're coming out with a lighter spring kit. We'll see. Just it's worse than my standard M&P. No doubt about it. Okay, let's knock out these last couple rounds real quick. It's different. It's definitely different. Not much muzzle rise at all. It's actually quite easy to maintain the sight picture fully through the cycling of the slide. Interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see here. Do a little modified build drill. I don't have a holster yet. Don't know of anybody that makes one. Gonna work on some, at least a temporary holster of my own. Just some Kydex and pretty basic backer plate. Something that I can be able to use it on a match here for too long. But yeah, no accessories really at all. I'm sure there's going to be crossovers among other pistols. There always seem to be, you know, even people saying that, well, maybe a CZ75 or a Shadow 2 holster would fit this. So that is to be determined. All right, again, there are 3 magazines included from Rock Island. Do always appreciate that. I've bought a few pistols here even recently that only come with 1 or 2. 3 at least allows you to get through pretty much any competition since they are 17 rounds. So I want to do a couple, we'll call them modified build drills. Don't have a holster. I'm just going to run 5 rounds. Who can afford to shoot 6 rounds at a time these days? So let's see how it goes here. Not bad. Terrible accuracy, but they're all on the target. 164, pretty average. Let's see what happens. A little bit better. 162, not bad. Everything takes a little bit of getting used to. Looks like it didn't quite go fully into battery, but we'll call that an ammo problem. Did see that. Did notice it was a little bit difficult getting that round into the chamber, so that's all right. One more here. Biting the shit out of my hand. Might have drawn blood on that one. We're all right. Okay, well that was a problematic magazine. All right. May have just developing some initial gunk with the factory grease and whatnot. I did wipe it down, but I did not do anything beyond that. I did not clean it. I didn't oil it beyond what came from the factory. It appeared to have a pretty nice layer of oil, so I didn't worry about that. But maybe I should have. Not sure. Time will tell. Let's just run those. Let's run those 3 magazines again. All right, let's try that again. I got 3 more magazines, each with 5 rounds. Timer seems to be set on a pretty short random delay, so that's throwing me off a little bit. All right. You can get them off quickly. You can stay on target. Certainly not precision groups, but everything's on the paper. 1.23 that time, not bad. All right, let's 2 more magazines. Let's see what happens. I don't like when it does that. Stovepipe. Again, light 147s, but I have shot several thousand of this particular recipe. 147 round nose, nothing special. That's all right. Yeah, you can probably tell it's not ejecting them with much authority at all. So I am really not concerned if it's not absolutely 100% reliable right now. Almost to be expected. I won't say it's to be expected, but needs to be broken in, and these are only running about 900 feet per second. All right, so I did want to compare the new 5.0 against 2 other very different pistols, but pistols that are, something you might be trying to choose between. So we have the Rock Island 5.0, we have the Rock Island Tac Ultra 5-inch, and then my baby M&P that has seen probably over 5,000 rounds at this point. Worked over a little, not a lot. Apex trigger, Apex sear. This gun breaks right at 2 pounds 12 ounces very consistently. Huge difference from either of these other guns. The Rock Island 5.0 is breaking at 4 pounds 12 ounces, and then the Tac Ultra breaks right between 3 pounds 14 15 ounces to an even 4 pounds. So the 5.0 is much more similar to the M&P than a 1911. This M&P trigger has been worked over. Again, nothing custom, just drop-in parts, and it is as good as a striker pistol gets, as far as I'm concerned. Even comparing it to a lot of the new really nice triggers out there from Walther, and the Canik rival has a fantastic trigger for a striker. This absolutely runs with the best of them. A very short take up, a very short reset once you do break it, and then it quickly breaks again. So You know, this gun is totally broken in, and I absolutely love this trigger. Now, everybody has run through the 1911 style trigger. Rock Island does have a little bit more take-up than, you know, some manufacturers, but still a super crisp, super short break. Very nice reset, audible reset. Really, it's amazing how much pistol you get for the money with this particular guy. It really is. And then again, the new 5.0. I will say there is no over travel on this gun. I actually put a business card behind the trigger, and it would not trip the sear, or trip the hammer rather. I do appreciate that. I actually really like when a trigger breaks far back in its pull. If you can't tell, I injured my trigger finger decades ago, but it does benefit me to have a trigger that breaks far back in the travel. Can't say anyone else is going to appreciate that, but I definitely do. Kind of already mentioned this. I can forgive a long pre-travel if there's a very crisp reset in the back of the travel and you can break another shot off. Not so the case with this guy. I mean, I won't say it resets all the way forward. It resets about 70% of the way forward, and then you have to come all the way back to the end of the frame to break it off. Again, it's smooth. There's no roughness. There's no change in the pull weight throughout the trigger. It's literally 3 or 4 times too long for my liking. The unfortunate part of that is it's not just a simple spring replacement. I will be buying the first replacement sear and hammer I can to attempt to work it over. I don't want to mess with the only factory one I have, but as soon as I can get some replacement parts from Rock Island, that's going to be the first thing that I try to do. I just don't like it. I don't like this trigger. Really don't. It's pretty hard to pick this up on camera, but I did want to try and give you some idea as a comparison between the new Rock Island 5.0 and the TAC Ultra and the Smith & Wesson M&P. We'll run it first, and we'll kind of run it in between the other two as well. So the gun is oversprung for this this ammo. There's no question about it. But it works. We're gonna run the TAC Ultra 5-inch, 9mm, same exact load. No issues at all. Chunks the brass a little bit further. Pretty much what I'm expected to with this load. Love this gun. Absolutely love these TAC Ultras. And then the M&P, again, worked over, apex trigger, dropped the spring weight by about 2 pounds on the slide on this gun. Here we go. A much sharper impulse with the M&P, probably due to the lighter spring, a faster recoil. Definitely moves more than either of these other two pistols, but again, totally to be expected. It's a 4.25 inch barrel on that. It's M&P 1, so there's no discernible weight on the front end. Still, this is my go-to 3-gun pistol. Been running it for years and years and years and years. So we'll run through that 5.0 again real quick. Yeah, my sights aren't even coming off my 8-inch target here at all. I definitely do like that. I think a spring would make a big difference in this gun, just to speed up that cycle just a little bit. I think we got room to speed it up without really affecting the sight picture. All things we'll play with as we go along here. So what did we learn? The new 5.0, it's interesting. It has a noticeably different recoil impulse from just about anything I've shot, including what I would consider very similar pistols like the Shadow 2. The Shadow 2 had a little bit more muzzle flip. The Shadow 2, once you're in, that trigger is miles better. There's no question. Can this one be worked over? I hope. That's all. Things only time will tell. The big question comes down to value. I think a lot of people are interested to get as much as they can for their money. I bought the first 5.0 ST I could find. Supposedly they were releasing 150 iron sight guns and 150 of the red dot model. My preference was the iron sights. I literally bought the first one that hit the advanced tactical, which is where that initial 300 pistol run, it's my understanding it can only be purchased through advanced tactical, which is in some way Rock Island's dealer, or they appear to be owned by the same company. Don't quite understand that relationship, but paid full MSRP for it. It was $1,100 out the door. That's going to be the biggest sticking point. I wouldn't have paid that again. In fact, I don't think there's any question that I wouldn't have paid that again. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but I'm going to assume once these hit shelves, once the distribution picks up, you're going to be able to find it for a bit cheaper than that. Advanced Tactical is always a little bit more expensive, again, due to the fact that they're the same company. They're basically selling everything at MSRP. It's not an $1,100 pistol, and it's not an $1,100 pistol when the TAC Ultra is, let's be honest, like $800 street price. But what do you want to do with it? Maybe you don't want the 1911 style, or 2011 is basically what it is. The big question for me is, where is this going to fit in the various divisions? As a hammer fire gun, I'm not exactly sure. Is it a limited gun? Does it fit in Steel Challenge production? If it does, that would be a really, really good place for it. As far as USPSA, I'm not sure with the limited changes. Not super well versed on the rule specifics for all the various competitions. I don't know what you're getting over a CZ or a SIG Legion, or any of these kind of competition driven pistols that are out there currently. Yeah, the recoil impulse is nice. Flat shooting is nice. It does not so far overcome the pretty significant limitation. I like the way Rock Island is going. You know, this is all US made. The fit and finish is night and day improved over, you know, their Filipino Tac Ultra. As far as just the milling and the actual fit and finish. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with Tac Ultra, but you can clearly see some forging marks and just little imperfections in the finish and such, whereas the 5.0 has none of that. It's my understanding that it is Cerakote. It is a very smooth, finely applied, good looking black Cerakote. I'm really hoping there's some big pickup in aftermarket support. I don't want to have aftermarket support on a pistol costing $300 or $400 more than a similar option. The last couple times I did not get slide bit, but I find that happens more when I'm drawing from a holster and getting a more natural grip coming up, as opposed to just what I've been doing kind of up and down. You tend to kind of move out of the way of danger. As far as repeated, you know, drawing from the holster, trying to hit that same point, I think it's going to get worse. I really do, because you want to get that real positive grip on the draw, and the first place you typically interface is the web of your hand, right up there. I may be making a bigger deal out of it than it actually is. We will see. I have a feeling I'm being a little bit too harsh on the 5.0, but if I am, it's only because of how high my expectations were. I typically never buy brand new guns, and or not brand new, but you know, brand new releases. I saw this one, I saw their various videos, and I absolutely had to have it. My expectations were very high. So that may be, you know, that may be why I am a little bit more disappointed than maybe I should be. You know, all we can do is keep shooting it. All we can do is see if initial impressions improve. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna run a couple hundred rounds through it, and hopefully be able to provide a more positive update here in the near future. I want to see if I can give it a better shake at some slow fire groups. Get these sights adjusted. The Tac Ultra again was not adjusted out of the box either, so I can bump that sight up just a little bit, better center that group. But yeah, we'll keep messing with it here. See if things improve. Anybody want to buy a new 5.0 ST? Love that I can shoot all three of these pistols and reload them with the same up-lula. If you're not running one of these, you definitely should be. Favorite little cheap accessory that I think I have. not yet. Some nice grease tracks. Nice little bruising going on. What can you do? All right, so this time I'm going to run a quick comparison on my fake bill drill between the 3 pistols we have out here with us today. I'll run the TAC Ultra first, I'll run the 5.0 ST in the middle, and then I'll run my M&P just kind of back to back here. Each loaded with 5 rounds. Basically all I'm doing is starting at the base of the target, popping up 5 rounds, 10 yards. I just want them all to go into my sheet of printer paper. Didn't bring any steel or anything out with us here today. So as long as they're just on a sheet of paper, that's really all I'm looking for. We've got some new targets set up, so we'll kind of make sure that they're each running about the same. I have actually very little time. I got this a couple weeks before the 5.0, that's the TAC Ultra. So not much time on this gun at all. Although I did like it so much, that contributed to my excitement in getting the 5.0. These have been out for a while, so nothing new here. So let's see what we can do with 5 rounds in each of them. 114. That's the 1911 single trigger for you. 114. Pretty poor group. They're all on the page. Let's run that 5.0 next. Already done this one a couple times, but we'll see what happens. 142 with a delayed start. Not super accurate of a time. Seems to be breaking in a little bit, just even those few rounds. Slides moving faster. There was a clear delay when I broke off those first few shots. The slide is noticeably moving faster, but not really any change in the sight picture. Still real flat, real enjoyable to shoot. Aside from the fact that I didn't really get bit that time, but it was close. 5 rounds through the M&P. This gun is clearly more difficult to control than the other two. Just bounces around a good bit more. Still one of my favorites and always will be. So you might be asking yourself, why did I bring these 3 particular pistols? And the reason is simple. I wanted to compare not a stock striker fired gun against an internal hammer fired gun. That just didn't really seem fair. I expected the single action hammer action to be better. Why wouldn't you? So I thought it would be actually more fair to compare a slightly worked over striker gun. Anyone can put in an Apex kit. This was not sent to any Smith or anything like that. Did it on the kitchen table, no big deal. It's an inexpensive modification, and if you are a competitive shooter running an M&P, you would be insane not to do it. It's really nice setup. I expected this to be much more like a worked over striker gun out of the box due to the different action. That is what I expected. That is not what I got. Very smooth. There's no there's no change in the pull weight throughout the travel. You know, there's no walls or hills and valleys. It is straight back. It is consistent. It is long. And then again, you know, cheap double stack 1911. When I measured this gun, it was very, very consistent, right at 4 pounds. But anybody that shot a 1911 and a striker gun back to back know that weight does not tell the full story. I would take a 4-pound 1911 trigger over my 2.5-pound worked over striker gun any day of the week. But for production division, you work with what you have. So we're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna try and get a brief slow motion comparison between these 3 actions. I realized what I was doing wrong with my timer. I had the minimum set to 0. It's throwing me off. So we're gonna do that same test here. Clean new targets. We're gonna run the Rock Island last this time. And we'll run the M&P first. We'll run the TAC Ultra second. We'll run the 5.0 last. We're gonna do 5-round, back to back, see what happens. Let's run the TAC Ultra. I always seem to shoot this pistol a little low. They're all on there. 138. 5.0. I like the slide release on this gun. I'm trying to find positives. I really like the slide release. I like the position of it. It's nice and blended. Functions as a good thumb rest. All right. Speed shooting like that, the groups are the same. 5.0 is still is worse by maybe 2 inches. Again, not trying to shoot small groups here. 1.52. I have practice, don't get me wrong. I need to practice more. This is just kind of direct comparison. Hopefully give you guys a better idea if you're thinking about picking it up. Not trying to dissuade anyone from buying it. That's certainly not my intention. It's a diamond in the rough, we'll call it that. A lot of potential, a lot of work needed to be done, unfortunately. Yeah. we'll just wrap it up, burn through a little bit more ammo here, and call it a day.